Welcome back to the Community Roundtable. This month we're talking about a sensitive subject, bullying, and it can happen to anyone. So Lee, tell me why when we're bullied, but yet we know that's what's happening, it still affects us anyways.
So the words that we hear from other people, the actions that they take, we are wired to respond to that as social beings. The first thing that we're going to do is saying, what did I do wrong? So we start from a perspective of looking at ourselves before we call out what someone else is doing. So even if we know it feels unfair, we're still going to look inside. Am I the problem? Is there something, am I not fitting in? What's going on that I am being targeted?
Oh, that's so hard. And Zoe, I know that sometimes things can be difficult in your world, and how have you experienced some bad bullying situations?
Well, I've been dealing with a lot of negative words and just being myself just causes people to start bullying me, and it's really hard to be happy when those thoughts are just stuck in my head all the time.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad you're in a good place now.
And since you kind of brought up, it's your generation is much more into social media. So how do you feel social media has changed the way bullying happens?
Well, the difference between like physically getting bullied and online is just like words that they just put into your head, and maybe like, oh, you should like go into like a ditch or something. That's like a way for them to try to get more popular than you by getting you to do something negative. But in real life, it's more of like physically, like they're physically bullying you and like trying to physically, like face-to-face wise, put stuff into your.
It can be scary.
Yes, it's really scary.
What are some tools maybe we can use to help combat some of that scariness?
Yeah, so part of that is community, what we do in the community. So whether it's at school, whether it's at work, church, wherever there are groups of people, having really clear policies about bullying not being acceptable, calling it out when it's safe for you to do so, stepping forward and stopping the bullying. Absolutely important. I also think that as we look at what happens on our national stage, that when people are behaving poorly, whether that's nationally, whether that's locally, in your own home, calling that behavior out, because when it's made okay in different areas in which we move, then it becomes okay for bullies to bully when it's acceptable. So we need to make bullying unacceptable. And there's been a lot of changes towards that over the years, but we can do a lot more with that.
Absolutely.
What do you see, like how does bullying among children compare to teens or adults?
Yeah, so there's a level of sophistication for teens and adults that kids don't have. So for younger children, it's typically a little bit more aggressive. I'm going to take your toy away from you. I'm going to push you out of our group. Exclusion, social exclusion, which happens for kids, for teenagers, for adults, where you're not going to be a part of our group. And so that happens, the social exclusion happens all the way across, and tends to be a little bit more physical, for younger kids. They just lack the emotional maturity. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, but the ability to emotionally manipulate, that as we get older, we understand how words hurt in a way that little kids don't necessarily understand as much.
Well, I want to thank you for being on the roundtable. This has been a great conversation and an important conversation. If you have any issues with bullying, please check out our website and get some help. And we'll see you next time on the roundtable.